Yeah, let's see how she starts with no enrichener after she's been sitting. See you later. Well, I cleaned out the mixture. I opened up the air screw a quarter turn to 1.5 turns out. Boy, that really cleaned things up a lot. Bike started up okay. Fired up on the first kick after it'd been sitting a while there while I was at my buddy's house. So maybe that's a good air screw setting. So I think we're in second gear. First, second gear, little roll on. You just feel a little richness, just the air, and it clears right out. Oh yeah, that did nice. I say this is running a lot nicer now. That quarter turn leaner on the air screw really cleaned things up a lot. Just slight richness, but nothing I can't live with, and I'd always rather err on the richer side. So nice and smooth, third gear running here. That's right, there's where you feel that richness. And you can throttle right past it without it breaking up really bad like it used to. That's a real nice difference just between 1 1/4 turn on the air screw and 1.5 on the air screw. Of course, dropping the needle jet 1 notch to the number 2 position. made the big difference. I could probably get away with dropping that needle to the #1 position. It might work better, but let's see on the longer ride how it is on the on these throttle settings, how the plugs look in these throttle settings. Like I said, I'd rather be rich than lean. Throttle response is a lot nicer now also. Oh, that accelerates nicely away from the stop signs. As long as I'm not fouling plugs, I'm going to leave it this richer setting. And we'll see on a cold start how it starts up with that 1.5 turnout setting. Started first kick this morning with the 1.25 setting with that 32.5 pilot jet. Oh, that is nice. That accelerated really nice. Running on the mains a lot better than it used to. So right there I'm in 5th gear. That's where you feel that richness right there if I give a little throttle. But not bad. You know, I'm definitely tempted to put some pods on there to let it breathe a lot better than this intake system is. And going to bigger mains, start tuning with that. Definitely the tuning. Sometimes it's a pain in the butt, but kind of enjoy it when I have the time. Not like my modern bikes. You do what mods you want on the bike and you forget all about it. You leave it and just ride it. Older bikes like this, you know, puts a smile on your face. You know, get your hands dirty again. Yeah, you can't make a quick jetting change like you do with fuel injection with a keyboard. Do my main jets, I got to pull the carbs off this bike. Yeah, that means removing the tank, the fuel tank, and same with the needles. To do that, I could leave the carbs on the bike, but I still got to pull the fuel tanks. A lot more involving than a new bike. But yeah, it's nice. Yeah, according to the trip meter, I've done 39 miles on this tank of fuel. Looking in the tank, I've used quite a bit of fuel. So, yeah, definitely not much fuel mileage. But who cares? It's a fun bike. Actually, let's go top off this fuel tank before I park it. So I'm not going to be pulling the tank off for a while. Okay, I gotta remember the Triumph I use 87. I'll put the 92 in this puppy. That's good enough. 2.84 gallons for 40.3 miles. I must be getting pretty close to reserve. I think it's a 4.2 gallon tank. Probably go on reserve just over 3 gallons. Yeah, this is all fueled up. 2.846, 40.3 miles. Oh, this bike can get me in trouble if that speedometer is anywhere near close to accurate. Little bit of spooge out of the pipes, not as bad as the last time. Yeah, two-stroke stuff. I'm not going to put any sealant in there. Alright, so final thoughts on today's test ride. The jetting seems to be pretty good. I'm at 95 on the mains and 32.5 on the pilots. I had gone up a step on that from the 30s that were in there. That was I was having to turn that air screw in farther than I wanted to, so it was time to step up the pilots. Then again, those were not Mikuni jets, so I'm not sure where those were. The 32.5 seemed to work really well with this. And for the section of the ride home, I opened them up to 1.5 turns out. So I leaned them out a quarter turn from when I started. When I started out this morning, I was at 1.25 turns. So I guess guys call it four-stroking, but I just call it richness. You know, it was had that spot that was still quite rich. Certain throttle opening, you could roll past it, but it was a big improvement from the previous ride. You know, I between that previous ride and this ride, I had lowered the needles from the middle number 3 position to the number 2 position. So I've leaned out the needles. That made a big difference. And then going from 1.25 to 1.5 turns out on the air screw made it really nice for the ride home. So there is a bit of richness to it still, but at this junction, I think that's very nice. I'll just have to check my plugs again. I'm sure they'll look a little nicer than they were on the way out. And getting on the highway there, it's a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit, but I was able to run up a couple gears, and it ran up through the gears a lot nicer and pulled a lot stronger. Now, you know, it's never ending.
I'm tempted to try bigger main jets, see how that goes, but I know this intake system, the 3-into-1, the snorkel was missing from this bike when I got it, and it's got a K&N, but it's still restrictive. You know, if I fire up the bike with this intake, air intake off, just the carbs, the bike leans out quite a bit. So it's still pretty restrictive even without the snorkel. You know, you look at the air opening around the top, around the air cleaner and all that, there's not much space. You know, modern bikes with big air boxes, you've got room for a lot of air in there. This just does not have it. So being the tinkerer, hot rodder, motorcycle rider, racer, just enthusiast, I am tempted to throw in some pods, and because if I gotta take those carbs off to throw in some bigger main jets to try out, I might as well go big. Just keep smiling. As the bike improves, it keeps making me smile more and more. From previous rides, the previous setup, you get on the throttle, it hits at 6,000. That was nice. But now, when the bike hits and accelerates, I'm starting to slide back on the seat. That didn't do that before, so it's improved a lot. Ignition timing, I've left it at 23 degrees. I am not going to advance it to 25 to get more lower end torque. Best fuel I could get around here is 92 octane. Some areas is only 91. These bikes come from an era where 100 octane fuel was at the pumps all day long, and that's just not an option these days, so I don't need that. Bike will run cooler at 23 than at 25. It'll just last longer, so that little power tuning, I'll leave that behind. No need to touch that. So yep, right now I'm very happy with it, except these things, absolutely worthless. I can't see a thing through them, can't see behind me, nothing. If I was willing to go for a more modern look on that part, change out the grips and do some bar ends like I put on all my other bikes. You know, the CRGs are very good, dampen out a lot of vibration, give a clear picture. I don't know how it would be on these, but either way, these stink. So thanks for watching. We'll see where the next update on this bike brings us. We'll catch y'all later. Have a good one.